You hear this echo here. We are in this empty space, which is the Fields Institute. Thanks, Fields Institute, for letting us use this very nice space. But there's also something else that I need to acknowledge, which is the sacred land on which the University of Toronto sits. It has been a site of human activity for 15,000 years. This land is the territory of the Huron-Wendat and Petun First Nations, the Seneca, and most recently the Mississauga of the Credit River. The territory was the subject of the dish with one spoon, one plume that covenant, an agreement between the Iroquois Confederacy and Confederacy of the Ojibwe and allied nations to peacefully share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Today, the meeting place of Toronto is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island. And we are very grateful to have the opportunity to work in the community and this territory. So I'm here with Nina Tsegledi, who is nearby. There you go. Who will share the MC with me. We have quite a packed program, and I'm going to start right now. So the way this program is gonna work is we are going to start from outside. Yes, it's been raining today, but we managed to make it work. And we're gonna start with a short video called "Signing the Virus," which is 2 minutes. Which is a collaboration between the Digital Dramaturgy Lab, Antje Badje, Felipe Cervera, Grace Wiskin. And I should also say that besides the Fields Institute that gave me this beautiful space to play with, he started without me finishing. Okay. 2 minutes. Okay. No, this is what I said, don't. Just a second. Is that okay? Is it okay now? Is there a delay? No, they didn't cut off anything. It's just
Niimi, that one is dancing. Indigenous marker trees abound across Turtle Island. These natural bodies, subtly reconfigured by the indigenous ancestors, are earthworks that speak to us across the centuries in an imperfectly remembered language. Many descendants of those who inscribed their teachings and directives in mounded earth, on scrolls of birch bark, on painted rocks, and in the twisted boughs of trees, labor to reclaim and to interpret these systems of inscription with as much vigor as they invest in the revitalization of their nation's languages. This micro-project concerns itself with embodied intelligence, the communication of that intelligence as a performance enacted by the other than human body, and human response to that intelligence performed somatically. How does the contemporary indigenous body read, hear, and develop language with which to respond to this encoded legacy? What do other bodies read and hear? What is the language through which those other bodies respond?
Still inside. We are here inside, and uh, it's very empty. I just wanted to show you what is going on here. So I'm just gonna turn my camera off. And you can see there's a beautiful projection here, which we will get to later. And then there will be some sound, which is operating from the stairs and from these two sides. The work is made by a group of sound artists from York University, from the Sensorium Lab. We are ready for the projection outside, so I'll let you enjoy it. Okay, I am going inside and um, we have 5 minutes before we actually do the next one.
Can we see?
Well,
I just want to see if we can see.
I'm going to show you a few things that have been done here at the Fields Institute while they do the setup. So I'm joining Michael Palumbo, who is working on his string piano. So what we have here.
Wait, for our colleague to go through the stage directions, etc. Thank
It's
you.
ticklish, isn't it?
Well, so the part of the speaker that pushes the air back and forth, that part I actually have connected to the piano. So it's vibrating the piano sympathetically. It's vibrating the piano sympathetically with the voltage that's coming out of my synthesizer. So what you're hearing right now is sound of my synthesizer being played through the soundboard of the piano. Quite lovely, and it's famous mathematician's piano. Very, very pleased to be there.
Okay. I think the play is ready. Yeah, that's what she said. Okay. Should we start now? Okay.
Right. Franz, you can start.
Article Jane, written by Vicky Jung, performed by Amy Wong, George Buanica Saremba, and Franz Robineau, directed by Antje Budde, Digital Dramaturgy Lab, Squared. The characters in the play are Yang Ying, a Chinese woman in her late 20s or early 30s, a Canadian-trained mathematician specialized in data science and machine learning. She is the daughter of a Chinese political activist who had been shot to death during the Tiananmen Square massacre. She was sent overseas at the age of 14 by her mother immediately after her father's death. She is now a naturalized Canadian. Then there's Mama, Old Ying, a Chinese woman in her late 50s and early 60s. She's Ying's mother and lives in Beijing alone after her husband's death in 1989. The state security officer, preferably a man, age unspecific, it is possible to use a pre-recorded voice to represent this character. Oracle Jane is a machine learning software program. It can be pre-recorded as a female voice, a young woman's voice, but with a robotic quality. And a man's menacing voice, a pre-recorded male voice. The setting. Summer of 2011, more than 2 decades after the Tiananmen Square massacre. Old Ying's bare-bone apartment in Beijing. There is a bed, a nightstand, a desk with a computer on it, a chair by the computer desk, and another chair by the bed. A curtain hangs at the back, leading to an unseen second bedroom. A door on the stage right, although it is not essential. Alternatively, the computer screen can be imaginary, hanging right in front of the audience, which Ying and Mama will study throughout the play. Another alternative, if there is resource, is to use a transparent projection screen. In this case, some data visualization may be shown to the audience instead of being implied through dialogues only. Scene 2. Ying is sleeping. Mama sits in a chair by her bed, in a state of distress. A bowl of steaming rice balls sits on the nightstand. Ying wakes slowly, rubbing her eyes.
What time is it?
It's noon.
Wow, I really slept.
Ying sees the steaming bowl, excited.
Sweet rice ball? In bed? What did I do to deserve such royal treatment?
Ying sits up and starts eating. Mama lets her eat. She fidgets in her chair. Finally, she can no longer contain herself.
Ying, you ever plan on telling me the truth?
About what?
Uncle Jay called this morning.
Ying stops eating, putting down the bowl.
Shit.
Ying gets out of bed nervously.
He saw you on the news. He said you are leading some sort of a protest against your own company. What are you thinking?
I'm so sorry, Ma. I didn't want to worry you. I couldn't live with myself any longer. I had to do it.
Do what? Bite the hand that feeds you? Share your parents' household?
Winkleman was doing terrible things.
Then let one of your white co-workers expose him. White parents expect their children to be disappointments.
Oh my God, that's so racist?
It's not racist if it's true.
Come on, Ma, get real. You have no idea. It was my Oracle Jane he was abusing. I had to do it.
Of course, you had to do it. Your dad pretty much said the same thing before he ran into the rain of bullets. You are your dad's daughter, after all. You had to be a hero, like him, of course.
Ma, do you remember the woman who lives upstairs from me, Doreen?
I think so. Did she also rat on her boss?
No, Ma. You remember what an incredibly sweet lady she is?
Yes, I remember. She's a nice lady. Why are we talking about her?
Just let me finish, Ma. Doreen's had a hard life. 2 little kids and a deadbeat husband who ran off on them. She's living paycheck to paycheck.
Everybody has troubles, Ying. How is this your problem?
One day, Doreen comes down and knocks on my door. She's excited. She's glowing. I'd never seen her so happy. She holds up this envelope, tells me she's been accepted to college. She's going back to school to get a degree. This'll be her ticket out.
Oh, what a tragedy. But good for her.
And then she proudly showed me the acceptance letter, and my heart just fell through the floor. I recognized this college immediately. It's one of Winkleman's clients. So I asked her more questions. She said, of course, she can't outright afford the college, but she's taken out a loan, a large loan. But no doubt she'll land a nice job after college. She'll have a big break, and it'll all be a good investment in the end. I asked her who the loan was through. Another one of Winkleman's clients.
Eagerly, Ying sits by the computer, turns the screen on, and opens a document.
Listen to this, Ma.
She reads from the screen.
Single mom on welfare, pregnant woman, recent divorcee, experienced a recent death, incarceration, drug rehab, physically abused, mentally abused, low-income job, dead-end job, self-esteem metric, low to extremely low.
Ying turns to face Mama.
Do you know what these are, Ma? Project specs Winkleman forced on me. They're called predictive variables, indicators of a good client.
Beat.
3 years, hundreds of thousands of predictions. Me and my Oracle Jane slaved away. Winkleman sold those predictions to the sharks. Bogus for-profit colleges, payday loans, subprime mortgages. He's made millions. Innocent people like Doreen, when they get hit, they don't even know where the bullets come from.
So, you went public about this? Expose your boss and your own company.
I should have done it a long time ago. He threatened me, that wonderful Mr. Winkleman. Said he'd pull my PR sponsorship if I didn't do exactly what he wanted.
Mama sighs with resignation.
I'm sorry you had to go through such a deal, baby. I just want you to have a normal life, you know? After your dad, all I wanted was some peace, some goddamn normality. No more whistleblowing, no more protest, no more blood and guts, no more.
Mama sobs quietly. Ying comes closer to hold Mama's hands.
Mama.
There's a pause.
When you decided to go into math?
I didn't. You decided for me, remember?
Right. When you agreed to go into math. I was so happy. I told myself you can live in a pure and abstract world from now on. Symbols, numbers, formulas. No more politics, literature, humanities, the kind of stuff that fascinated your dad so much.
And me.
Yes, yes, I know. But they are messy, my child. They are tainted with tears and blood. Utopian ideals, freedom, universal human rights. What a host, Lord. In the end, it's only disappointment, betrayal. Why? Why subject yourself to all the messiness of the human herd when you can live in a safe and perfect world?
Forgive me, Ma, but I'm afraid you're the naive one here. No one's immune, not even mathematicians. In the wrong hands, math can wreak havoc too.
Mama pauses. She considers what Ying said.
Perhaps. When you're a mathematician after all. Who am I to argue? I don't understand a single thing you guys do. So, no more Winkleman.
Hallelujah.
Mama nods in resigned acceptance. Pause.
So, back to square one then? Now, you have no job and not even a man in your life. Do you?
I don't have time for a man in my life.
You're not getting any younger, Ying. Your old classmates are all mothers. That girl you used to walk to school with, what's her name? Lin Lin. She's got 2 little boys, twins. I bumped into her mother the other day. She said she needed a vacation from chasing the 2 tots around the house all day. I said, I'll take one off her hands.
Then take one.
What?
You said you wanted to take one.
Yeah, right. You think that grandmother would let go of her grandbaby? You should see the look on her face. She was so smitten. You know what they would call you if you're still living here?
Yes, Ma. A leftover.
Yeah, a leftover. You're top of your class, Ying. All the boys were chasing you around. You had your pick of the litter. You're a pretty girl, you know, despite these dowdy clothes you wear all day. Get yourself a new summer dress. Put your hair up like this.
Mama demonstrates awkwardly.
My hair is fine. I like my hair.
A girl only blossoms once in life, and not for long.
Can we please not talk about my shelf life, Mama?
So you'd rather be a spinster holed up in your dark room every day, wasting all your best years? What are you doing now, anyways? Why are you still tinkering with this thing if it's so evil?
It's not evil, it's simply a tool. Oracle Jane can do all sorts of wonders if she's in the right hands.
Can I see this, Oracle Jane? That's so much more important than finding yourself a good man?
No.
The computer flashes. Oracle Jane speaks. Cross-validation completed. New patterns detected.
So, this thing can talk?
Mama is intrigued, moving closer to the computer. Ying tries to block the screen and turn off the computer. Mama is fast enough to stop her and grabs hold of the computer screen. Ying is pushed aside. Pause.
I know this person. And this, they're your dad's friends.
Ma?
This guy here, your dad used to rave about his writings, and wow, I haven't seen his name for a long time. The legend.
The Tank Man.
What's all this, Ying? What on earth is going on here?
If I tell you, you promise you won't get mad at me?
I sure can't promise you that.
They're my data points.
Ying, struggling to find a way to communicate.
Mama, do you ever wonder why Uncle Chen and Uncle Lin were arrested 3 days after Dad disappeared, but Uncle Wong and Aunt Sue were spared? They were all at Tiananmen Square with Dad at the same time. Why did the party sentence some to decades of jail, but let others go free?
Who knows? Being at the wrong place at the wrong time, the whims of whoever's happened to be in charge. There were never any clear rules. That's how they keep you on your toes.
That could well be, except that there does appear to be a general pattern here.
Pardon?
Yes. Look at this graph. This cluster of people.
Ying's fingers zoom in the graph on the screen.
Most names in here belong to unfortunate souls, sentenced to 10, 20 years, even life. But here, in this cluster, 87% of the people still walk the earth as free men. Yes, some are under constant surveillance, but nevertheless, somehow, miraculously, they managed to avoid a life behind bars.
So, what are you saying?
Well, part of this discrepancy may be explained by the usual suspects, like age, gender, how long they've been involved, how many times they've been arrested before, etc., etc. But
Beat.
There's more. Jane here seems to think the odds of being arrested also has something to do with one's writing.
I'm not following.
Writing style, word choices, sentence structures, and so on.
Mama is still confused. Beat. Ying changes tactic.
Ma, you remember Aunt Wen?
How could I forget her? Now, she made good sticky rice balls.
And she was a good writer.
Ah, your dad used to love her writing. A little too much, in fact. I was jealous that her writing seemed to move him in a way that my steamed pork buns never could. Just kidding. That woman was a magician with words.
But she never wrote about politics.
She was too bourgeoisie for that.
And yet she's been locked away in re-education camps since 1995.
That's always been a mystery for me. She was friends with a lot of activists in the group.
Yes, but aside from that, take a look at this chart. She also has the highest score here.
Ying slides her fingers across the screen as if flipping a page and points at the screen. Mama reading the legend off the chart with difficulty.
Principal
Principal component analysis.
Oh, all that technical mambo jumbo.
Don't worry about the labels, Mom. Basically, once Jane is done massaging the data, we're presented with this nice little graph here. a graph on the style of different people's writings. Not the content, but the style.
Mama reads out slowly from the graph.
Level of abstraction.
Yes, from the left, you start with writings that are literal and physical. Blood, tears, sweat, guns and barrels, classic propaganda stuff. As you move to the right, you get increasingly abstract writings, like dark states of mind, emotions, tangled relationships.
That would be Wen's work on the right.
Exactly. Now, vertically, we rate writings from straightforward to ambiguous. And Wen was the queen of irony. Her words seemed to mean one thing, but they often meant the opposite, subtly but surely inviting doubts for her readers.
She stands out on your chart.
Top right corner, she's an outlier, all right.
So you think they imprisoned her because of her writing style? Like a preemptive strike?
Well, with most effective writers dead or arrested.
Mama points at the chart.
Here.
You got it, Ma. I call it the unicorn cluster. And Wen, the surviving unicorn, may just emerge as a powerful voice against the system.
Mama nods and considers this. Pause.
They've been in the business of political propaganda for half a century, Ma. They learned from their mistakes, and there have been plenty.
Madame Mao's 8 revolutionary plays.
That was a colossal failure, wasn't it? Oh, weren't you the heroine in the district production?
Stuff you did when you were young.
But you really looked the part, Ma. Those rosy cheeks and shiny teeth. And that perfectly fitted Mao suit.
How do you know?
You showed me pictures, remember?
I did?
Yes, and I remember that enemy of yours, the people's enemy. They made that poor guy look like a cross between a weasel and a skunk.
It was laughable.
One-dimensional characters, hot-headed slogans, they no longer work.
They never worked.
The party knows the kind of writers who had to be locked away, who were simply too dangerous to roam free, even if they were only writing love stories.
Mama nods slowly. Beat.
So, all those data, how do you get your hands on them?
You wouldn't believe it. Legions of people are keeping records, just quietly, voluntarily working away.
20 years. I thought people have forgotten.
And guess who has the best data? Human rights lawyers.
Like your father.
Mm-hmm. Dad would have been proud. They have remarkable documents on all those activists. Here.
Ying's finger slides across the screen as if flipping through pages after pages.
Those who were questioned, summoned, forbidden to leave the country, held under house arrest, criminally detained, arrested, missing. 600 activists database for Oracle Jane to work on. Oh, and their writings, humongous loads of text. Books, newspapers, magazines, pamphlets, posters. Jane also scraped the internet for their online posts. She scanned more than 30 million words.
Mama shakes her head in disbelief.
Sometimes I just have to pinch myself. I can't believe you are my child. Where did you get all that superpower?
Ying smiles, grabs the bowl of rice balls, and points at it with a mischievous look as if saying, "From here."
I still don't get the point of all this. What's done is done. Lives locked away, silenced, buried. Let the troubled souls rest. Why disturb them?
To understand the party logic, its inner workings.
Inner workings?
Yeah, soon enough, fingers crossed, activist groups can use Jane to develop guidelines. Some words are better avoided. Certain writing styles attract more scrutiny. Some online sites could lead to more arrests.
Mama shakes her head.
Look, I applaud your efforts. I really do. But I think you are being naive to think that.
Oracle Jane speaks. Updated profile alert. The computer starts flashing red and beeping jarringly. Beep, beep.
What now? That doesn't sound good.
Ying stares at the screen.
Huh. Interesting.
What is?
Ying is still staring at the screen.
Ying!
A few nights ago, Jane worked out a profile of the elusive leader of the Jasmine movement. She's been refining her results ever since.
Ying and Mama read from the screen inaudibly. Pause. Mama is increasingly alarmed.
How did she come up with this?
It's sort of a byproduct of the algorithm.
Byproduct? Like resin from potatoes? Molasses from sugar?
Well, not quite, but just the same, unintentional. You see, when Jane first got started, she's like a blind man touching the elephant, one trait at a time. She's clumsy, she's making mistakes, misclassifying things. But after a while, more data, more learning, she gets her confidence. Now she can put everything together, kind of like the way little children learn. And that's when she starts making predictions.
What do you mean, making predictions?
Like producing profiles of activists who haven't yet been identified.
Why? Do you understand how dangerous this can be?
Unfortunately, that's just the nature of unsupervised machine learning. Jane just can't help herself. Once this baby's fed data, she'll discover all sorts of things, often beyond what we've asked her to.
Oh, no. You've got to stop this right away.
Mama, I'm being super careful.
You are being reckless. Self-destructive. Like your dad. You have no idea what you're up against. I don't want another activist in this house. You hear me?
I'm not much of an activist, Ma. I'm just a mathematician, trying to make sense of the world.
Mama knows what she's doing. This is some sort of revenge. She didn't send her to study maths so that she could cause more misery. She tells her, let go, child. Just let it go. Forget the past and move on.
If only I had a choice. How can I let go, Mama? What they've done to Daddy? Don't you feel him? Well, I do. I hear him. I see him in the darkness of the night telling me to do something meaningful with my life.
Stop this crap about meaning. I'm sick of it. Your dad's search for meaning ruined my life. You and your dad, you guys just have to be martyrs. Find yourself a good man. Start a family. Be a normal human being. Be average, for God's sake. Your dad deluded himself into thinking he could change the system. Look what good it did for him.
Mama remembers something. She looks frantically for her cell phone, which is on the nightstand.
I have to call your Aunt Lee.
Why?
Mama ignores her.
Mama, are you mad? You're really going to report your own child?
I'm not the one who's been so reckless.
No one's seen this, Ma. I won't share anything until I get a better hang of Jane, this wild child myself. I promise.
You are so naive, Ying. They will track you down. There are eyes and ears everywhere. I heard they can put backdoors on computers, whatever that means. When they catch you, it will be high treason. And do you know what the penalty would be?
Mama finds the phone and starts dialing. Ying tries to take the phone from her.
Stop that.
Aunt Lee is our only friend in the system. She will tell us what to do, minimize the damage.
They struggle until Mama slaps Ying hard in the face. Ying slumps to the floor, holding her burning face in pain and disbelief.
I need to speak to Min Lee this minute. Yes, Min Lee.
Beat.
I'm an old friend of hers.
Mama listens to someone speaking on the phone on the other end. She is stunned.
What? When?
Pause.
Thank you.
Mama hangs up the phone in a state of shock. Ying still sits on the floor, in pain.
Why take it all out on me, Ma? I get it. You have the most lonely, shitty life on Earth. But isn't that all your own doing? I wanted to be here for you. You chose to exile me to a foreign land, to fight for my own life. All those years, I lived like a pathetic, rootless, orphaned loner. And now you want me to live a normal life? Now you want some grandbabies? And how could you have forgotten what those people did to Dad? You know, he doesn't cease to exist just because some bastard put a bullet in his head. He's watching us, watching you and your cozy alliance with the wolf.
Mama's still in a state of shock.
State security took Min Lee into custody this morning.
What?
Pause. Ying gets up from the floor.
Did they say why?
Mama merely shakes her head.
Do you have any clue, Ma? What does this mean? Is Minley a snitch? Minley's a double agent? Oh my god, that'd be so cool.
Mama slowly retreats to the back with utter resignation. Ying rushes to the computer.
Do you think Aunt Lee, is the leader of Jasmine movement, Ma? Jane thinks as a woman between 55 and 60, 78% chance of working for a party apparatus. Oh my god, she totally fits the profile. I can't believe this. Ma!
Mama has retreated behind the curtain.
Ma?
Mama speaks from behind the curtain.
Turn the damn thing off. How can you be so stupid, you math genius?
Pause. Ying is still studying her screen, her fingers sliding and flipping between pages, quietly whispering to Oracle Jane. Some time passes. Ying has fallen into a slumber sitting in front of the screen, resting her head on her arms. There's a loud banging on the door, jolting Ying from her sleep. The security officer shouts, "Open up! State security!"
Mama?
There is silence behind the curtain. "Open up the door immediately!" Ying is shaking. She moves to the door and opens it. "Looking for Ying."
That's me?
"Not you, your mother, the old Ying."
What? What for?
The security officer pushes a piece of paper in front of Ying's face. "Inciting subversion of state power."
What? No, wrong house. You've got the wrong person.
The security officer brushes Ying aside. He goes into the apartment, looking around. Ying frantically follows the officer around.
Officer, you have the wrong house. My mother's the most private, law-abiding citizen.
Shut up.
Inciting? She doesn't even like politics. She downright hates politics. She only wants peace, a normal life, for the world to leave her alone.
Mama walks out from behind the curtain, holding a small bag. Her essentials are packed. She takes Ying's picture from the bedstand and adds that into her bag.
Ma, they came to the wrong house. They have this all wrong. Tell them that.
Ying, my child.
The security officer handcuffs Mama.
What's going on here, Mama?
Your dad was the love of my life. Take good care of yourself now. Fly away. Far, far away, and never return. For my sake. For your dad's sake. Please.
The security officer shoves Mama towards the door. He stops in front of Ying. As for you, young Ying, here's a letter you should read very, very carefully. Ying throws the letter on the floor in disgust.
Mama.
Ying grabs Mama's waist. The security officer separates them forcefully.
No use to struggle now. I love you with all my heart.
Mama. Mama. Mama.
Security officer quickly escorts Mama out and flings the door shut, almost hitting Ying in the face. Light dims. Pause. The stage is dark except for a spotlight on Ying. She's sitting on the floor crying. She stares at the envelope on the floor and hesitates. She picks it up, shaking, opens it and starts reading. Pleasure,
rising
star of machine learning. Your Oracle Jane is nothing short of a miracle. Having said that, don't give yourself too much credit.
We've been onto your mother and Minli for years. Evidence has been accumulating against them. Your little program only put the nail in the coffin. In return, we won't press charges against you this time. No need for any diplomatic kerfuffle. But consider this a final warning. Take your new passport and go back to your little colonial paradise and never return. Let this be a precious lesson in your young life. Don't ever, ever think again you can outsmart us. Not you, not your little program. Have a great life.
need to find all the fingers, because we are going to explore what ECODATA are. So I'm curious myself. Ooh. I think you kind of need protection gear times of COVID. I built an indicator of COVID time on my head. It's called hair. So it's a form of biodata that comes in the form of hair length. It used to be very short, maybe 4 millimeters or 5 millimeters, and now look at this. Right? This is just this is how COVID grew. This is how it happened. So we can measure exactly, scientifically, we can scientifically measure how long I've been exposed to rattling the curve, right? I have bought a set of tools from, well, I mean, all data analysis will tell you the only company that you buy these days from is, of course, a company that's named after a very wild river. And of course, the very, very, very special challenge is to not have my glasses on. So we should all be concerned. But we have to take risks, right? At least I already have a bloody nose. So yeah, like that. How do I start now? I will use this thing, and it's charging, but I can just unplug this here. Yeah, I will just do this. And now okay, now I have to again. No, I have to keep the mask on. Can't lose the nose. Huh. Should I maybe use this? I mean, I can't really see much, honestly. This is really lots of hair, I'm telling you. Does look strange, does it? Collecting data is not easy. You have to first find data. And then you have to collect the data. And then you also have to analyze the data. And in order to analyze the data, you have to come up with some questions. I mean, really good questions. Yeah, I think my data visualization performance is kind of over. So yeah, this was my attempt to get rid of most of the hair on my head. This also was a data performance. It was fully visualized and also sonified. And that was also an algorithm instrument tool thing. So this is what radical self-care looks like. You just go for it, and you take people with you, down into the abyss.
Okay, you're on. We're almost there. I hold it. So we are now getting to the end of the evening with our whole building installation of ambience sound called Void, performed by Michael Palumbo, Joel Ong, Tavi, and Sina from the Sensorium Lab. I'm approaching them. I don't know if I should ask him something. Hi. So, what is the inspiration behind this?
Listen to the room and add to the ambience. So trying to, I feel, uh, add layers to the story of the space sonically. So each of us has a sound world that we're navigating and contributing to the sound world that is here in this building in the moment.
That's a very great idea. So, does it make a difference if the space is empty?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, human beings suck up sound just through our clothing and our presence. And there's something very special about being able to make sound in an empty space that kind of allows you to create a story um, without a filter in a way. It's a different way of interacting with the architecture.
Yeah, definitely the sound. For those people who are at home watching, the sound that comes out of this, that bounces off the walls, is really quite amazing and magical. Uh, Thank you so much. You have all these tools. I'll let you play for a little bit more while we have time. Just gonna go to talk with Joel, who has another set of equipment. I saw that he has a guitar, so now I'm gonna go and ask him what the guitar is for. But please listen to this sound. It's just incredible how the space resounds differently as you walk. Yeah. Hi. This is Dave Camp, who helped us and was incredibly helpful and very crucial to our projection mapping outdoor. We would have not been able to do it without him. And this is Joel. Hi. So what do you think of this?
Get in a building that's obviously normally full of people, but it's also interesting because there are all these corridors and cabinets, rooms that we can project down into, um, and yeah, it's interesting. All my teachers are actually going into an isolated part.
Oh, they are actually pointing inwards.
Yeah, that's right. They're pointing into the building itself. So most of the stuff that you're hearing is either being reflected or is originating within the building.
And what about the staircase?
Staircase, yeah. We have a couple of microphones that are basically collecting room ambience. Um, Hopefully that's providing a nice mix. There's some non-ideal uh, ambient sounds, but we're trying to do that as well. So, like,
How about the guitar?
guitars do normal guitar stuff.
Yeah, I could hear it sometimes. Yeah. Well, thanks for doing this. This is absolutely a treat. I'm just gonna go upstairs to talk to Tavi, who did this fantastic projection that you see up here. So from projection of sound to projection of images. Hi. So what do we have here? This is a beautiful projection. Wanted to take this geometry is part of our. So I'm having a live camera to capturing this. The most speed my business where I'm like overlaying this data. Okay. So it's kind of just constantly like feedback loop and I'm playing between the sort of the feedback and so taking away and adding up stuff. So it's constantly overlay the present, the generated, then I'm also streaming it directly the phone. And what I'm wanting to place the light that out, but the projection beautiful kind of light. But if I take the so real shadow and digital shadow all placed kind of overlay together. I'm just going with the space and using the space as a and I really like the shadows that are like the shade that is cast by that geometrical figure. Maybe the field will let us play more with these geometrical figures. After all, we played with a lot of things. Yeah, like this is like from the mathematical education group. So we would love to play with more stuff. So maybe if some mathematicians from field are listening, we want to play. So please make us play. Connect geometry Okay, well, thank you very much. Thanks. Bye. I have to wrap up, but yeah, let's give a round of applause to the Fields Building. The Fields Institute is has done like a beautiful performance for us tonight. And thanks to everybody for joining. Thanks to the Fields Institute, thanks to the York University Sensorium Lab, thanks to the DDL squared group and Anshe Buddha, and thanks to everybody else who has participated, and Ryerson University for giving us some projectors, and they can. Thank you, Don. And thanks to Don, who has been operating from the starship, which you will see because I took out a picture of it.